I don't know. Try not to overload the text, but they are really good. Okay, so the title today that I'm going to talk about is that things don't always get connected to the source. Okay, we don't always connect things to where they come from. Happens all the time, right? And anytime something is not connected to the source, it's not as powerful. It's not as strong. It doesn't mean necessarily as much. And so it's important. So I'm going to say a term right now, and I want you to raise your hand if you know what it means. Who knows what proprietary epony is? Maybe only one person. Not even. Possibly. Proprietary epony. It's legal speak, okay? It's not everyday. It's not in your everyday vernacular. It's also called a generic trademark, okay? And so it's basically when something becomes so popular that it becomes a verb, okay? So rollerblade. Yes. Rollerblade, everybody know that rollerblade is actually a brand. That's not actually what you call that, but that's really, like, those are like actually inline skates. But you think about, Kleenex, Velcro, chapstick, right? Who says, like, I need some chapstick, right? Or hand me a Kleenex. You don't say, I need a tissue. You don't think anything about it when you say, hey, oh man, I got a little cut, I need a Band-Aid, right? You don't say, I need a bandage, okay? You might, and that's cool, but that's what it is. There's tons of them that we don't even think about anymore, that, like escalator, dumpster, linoleum, zipper, trampoline. Those are brands. And so there's actually a thing that you could actually, companies are view it as a problem. You can see that this could be a challenge for a company if your brand becomes such a great success that it actually, because of its fame, like no longer represents the brand. It's actually just representing what that thing is. Okay, and there's court cases even about it. In that industry, it's called genericide. Okay, so it's like, where you lost it. You lost your message. You lost everything because it's so obvious. But nobody says I'm gonna throw a flat round disc for fun, right? You say frisbee, okay? You got a frisbee? Oh, let's play frisbee. You know what I mean? It becomes a verb, okay? Or even bubble wrap. It's a trademark from a company called Sealed Air, right? But you don't say I need cushiony bubbles for my package. You just don't. Ultimately, it's really unlikely that you really care about a company's intellectual property struggles at all, right? And you're just going to keep saying Kleenex, and you don't really care. But that's what it is. So there's actually a ton of common statements that are actually from the Bible that we don't really realize. This is from the Bible, okay? Anybody heard of escaping by the skin of your teeth? Like you hear that all the time, right? Skin of my teeth doesn't have skin, I don't even understand that. Well, you don't understand it because it's from a person that is really hard to understand, Job. Job 19:20 is where that comes from. And actually, he didn't actually escape anything, if you know about Job, so that's funny in itself. How about a house divided cannot stand? You ever heard that? Right? From the Bible, okay? It's actually from, it was made really, really famous from Abraham Lincoln, like almost every single thing on the internet, right? Everybody's like, oh, I think Lincoln said that. But it was just true. But he actually has a House divided speech that he said when he was accepting the Republican nomination for the state Senate for Illinois. So that's before he was even president yet. He was like he was struggling. If you know about Lincoln, man struggled. Lost most of his elections, all that kind of stuff, ultimately president. So it's pretty incredible. But people connect things, they're like, oh, Lincoln said that. Well, but he was quoting the Bible. Here's the next one. A drop in the bucket. Anybody heard that, right? Just a drop in the bucket. That's actually from Isaiah 40:15. Or how about this one? The writing is on the wall. right? Something so obvious, like, dude, Brian was on the wall with that one. I knew he was going to do that. Oh, I knew he was going to fall down, you know? Or whatever. It's from Daniel 5. And actually, the writing wasn't even on the wall with that one because Daniel had to actually, nobody even knew what it meant. And then Daniel interpreted what it meant through a dream. And then he was right, like utterly right. So much that the king stepped in and was really appreciative, and Daniel got a job, and told him a story. How about a leopard can't change his spots? Jeremiah 13. How about bite the dust? Right? I think of the song, another one bites dust, and another one does. Come on, you know what I'm talking about. That's from Psalm 72:9. The letter of the law, 2 Corinthians 3:6. How about salt of the earth? Right? Anybody say that? Just oh man, that person's salt of the earth. That person's great, right? That's from Matthew 5. I always think about the golden rule because people just kind of accept that as, you know, I mean, well, it's a maxim that may appear positive or negative, but it's an injunction that governs conduct. Okay, so it's pretty cool. But you know, it's like it's the principle of treating others how you want to be treated, right? You know, it's Matthew 7:12. You know, so whoever wished that others would do to you, do also to them, which is great. So when we connect something to the Bible, it carries more weight, doesn't it? Like there's a Western or some kind of like action movie and somebody comes on and they say, oh, that's biblical, right? It's like, oh, he went Old Testament on him, you know what I mean? Like judged him hard, you know what I mean? It means it's epic, or it means it's grand, or final, right? It's like, oh, it's done now. That was biblical. You know, so connecting it to the source, it matters, okay? And truth matters. And, you know, so, you know, all we have to do is point people to the truth. They already know, because, right, see, like all these things that we're saying, they're all really popular in society. People quote it all day, and they don't even really know that, like, they're quoting the Bible. And I think that's pretty awesome. St. Augustine said, the truth is like a lion. You don't have to defend it. Let it loose. It will defend itself, right? Completely true. Now, some concepts are like big thought process concepts that they're complex and they're hard to understand in its simplest form. But when you break things down to simple truths that can be understood, that is really what Jesus did. It makes things easy to understand, and you get a really good clarity, right? Anybody have, like, I know everybody's had this. You have a moment of clarity. You're just like, oh, I know exactly what I'm gonna do. Like, I got it, you know? Or you don't know what you're doing with your day, and you're like, yeah, dude, that's what we're gonna do, right? You know, or like you realize your schedule got freed up, you're like, I'm gonna go to the beach, right? It's happened to you probably, right? Schedule got cleared, I'm going to the beach. Done, that's clear. And you went, right? So everybody's had something like that. You know, so it will always be the case that the truth will set you free. And it will always land where it needs to land, even if you don't really like where it lands sometimes. You know, but sometimes when you think that things are falling apart, they're really just falling into place. And you're like, oh, that just should have been like that the whole time, you know? I really should have been doing that what I was doing. Even though I was so passionate about it at the time, I'm now in a whole lot better place. That I never would have got there unless that would have fallen apart, you know? And that could be applied to everything. So don't apply it to just anything. Just like let's think through it, you know? But you know, I think what I'm saying is that there's the truth will set you free, and there's freedom in the truth. And there's freedom in connecting things to the source. And so you're connecting things in a way that gives it that meaning, right? And so many people obviously are going through life and they don't have meaning, and so they feel empty, right? In the absence of a purpose, people just pleasure seek. Okay? Like when I didn't have a real purpose, in my life, which was really college, I went to every concert I could, and I did every CrossFit competition I could. Not that those are bad; those are amazing. But I just went from thing to thing to thing to thing to thing, and I was just planning out my schedule, or no plans for good plans. I just was seeking pleasure. So, but I felt empty. Like I didn't have that purpose. I didn't have like a real drive towards something. Anytime you're a part of a cause greater than yourself, you feel really good about it, right? And they always mean more. They're soulful. Has anybody ever had that feeling that you get when you have a lot of caffeine but you didn't eat enough? Right? You've got you're empty inside, but your heart is racing, and you're just oh no, and it's not a good feeling, okay? And it's because you just didn't have, I don't know, anytime your heart rate's elevated and you feel empty, it's not good. At first you don't really know why you don't feel that good, you just know it's not good. You know what I mean? And then you're connecting it, you're like, oh, maybe I should eat something. But you don't know what to eat, maybe you might get sick, but there's only one thing that's going to make you feel better in that moment is a really good meal, right? And so connecting it to how we live every day, you may not know what you need. You may be running around, or I think a lot of people, or everyone's had times in their life, maybe this is you right now, I don't know, but you're running around and you don't really know that there's something that you need. You just don't feel totally fulfilled. You don't feel like you're complete, right? There's no substance to what you're doing or how you feel about what you're doing or what that is. You know what I mean? And the substance, is truly in a relationship with God. It's in a relationship with Jesus. It's the only thing that I've ever felt fulfilled with, substantive with. And sometimes there's pride around some of that, I don't need to do that, or what I'm doing is good enough, but don't knock it till you try it, right? Give it a go. John 8:31, again, abide in my word. If you abide in my word, you are truly my disciples, and you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. And there's no better feeling than that. So let me just pray for you today. And we'll end. That's it. Bow our head. Dear God, thank you so much for this awesome day. Your word has not changed, and you are immovable. And I don't know what truth that people are looking for today, God, or what struggles that they're facing, depression or appetite for something that they shouldn't really have.